Hi, my name is Jason.
And I'm Adam.
Welcome to What's Your Problem, where we discuss current issues in distance learning and education. The second episode of our special season on trends in education explores gamification. You know, the thing you do to trick your kids into thinking doing chores is fun. Cleaning your room may suck. Earning experience points for stowing scattered cargo could become more exciting. For more on this, we go to Kaylin.
Think back to when you were younger, or maybe a recent time when you played a video game, computer game, or app on your phone. What emotions were activated? Did you feel motivated to make it to the next level, then the level after that, then the next, until you beat the game? When you were playing, did you become super focused on what you were trying to accomplish? Were you just waiting for feedback that you passed the level, or maybe a hint to help you be more successful next time? Well, if you have experienced this, whether you knew it or not, you have already had experience with gamification. I'm sure many of you have heard the term gamification being tossed around for a few years now. While the initial hype has started to wear down a bit, gamified learning is still a large movement in education and can be very beneficial when implemented effectively into your course. Gamification blends game design with education to boost engagement and understanding. The strategies behind designing a well-produced, highly engaging, and interactive video game are the same strategies to build a successful gamified learning environment. Jason and Adam are here to tell us more.
Thanks, Kaylin. The first principle of a quality game is that it has a marketable story that's woven into the design. Sure, you have your die-hard lovers of Pong, but most of us want some story with our pixels. A marketable story can take many forms, and most likely the first thing you think of when considering story in a game is some complex narrative involving treasure, monsters, or elaborate missions. However, this principle can be applied to education without intricacy. According to an Inside Higher Ed interview with Game On author Kevin Bell, involving some layer of story to the way students interact with the content develops intrinsic motivators and encourages a more compulsive engagement with the material. An important point Bell makes is that the experience of learning has to be paramount with the gamified elements woven in. The story needs to be intrinsic and not just bolted on. Consider what you know about the realities of the 19th century pioneers in America. Now consider how much of that is based on what you remember from playing the game Oregon Trail. Admit it, the only reason you know that a pair of oxen is referred to as a yoke is because of that game. In this case, gameful design is woven into content delivery, enhanced engagement, retention, and overall motivation to learn. One way to ease into this technique at the course level could be to try including a paragraph with each assignment that frames the assignment in a scenario or a larger narrative. Later, you could consider extending this story into a theme that branches across the entire module, unit, or even the course as a whole. In a project for an online course here at Schoolcraft, students are divided into groups and provided individual roles to play in an emergency scenario. Their task is to work together to mitigate the fallout from the emergency. This is a gameful technique, allowing students the opportunity to play a part in a story using the knowledge they'd gained from the course and apply it. The narrative framing makes engagement easier. It increases excitement over the content, makes the experience more memorable, and sets a clear path from start to finish.
Thanks, Jason. Part of the reason that incorporating story into teaching is so powerful is that it encourages students to take ownership of their learning, to see themselves as the hero, the master of their own destiny. And like any hero, they'll be motivated to rise to the next challenge. This is where the idea of leveling up comes in. Leveling up is one of the core components of video game design. Just ask anyone who's ever bragged about being a level 16 shaman in World of Warcraft who now has the ability to turn themselves into a ghost wolf. However, the concept of leveling up has become a popular trend outside of video games because it is a powerful way to change a player's mindset from a fear of failure to the drive to move up to the next level. It makes people more willing to try, and often fail and try again, in order to reach their goal. Video games incorporate experience points, leaderboards, and other rewards to keep players motivated, but these ideas translate to other arenas as well. Look through your wallet. Chances are you have a handful of cards from retailers that you're using to collect miles, fuel points, stars, or some other form of digital currency. These experience points are a way for retailers to encourage a desired behavior. And in addition to those points you're earning, that card probably also provides other offers. Maybe there's a challenge to earn double points on certain purchases, or to out-earn other members over a set period of time. Maybe there's an app that offers a digital scavenger hunt or other type of game. And all of this helps you level up to your next free cup of coffee, gallon of gas, or plane ticket. In order to gamify your classroom, the same concepts can easily be applied. Consider offering experience points, separate of actual points, for desired behavior. Maybe students can earn points for logging into Blackboard regularly, going above and beyond in a discussion, getting a perfect score on a quiz, or taking a leadership role in a group project. When appropriate, these experience points could be made public on a leaderboard to encourage friendly competition, or used to present a Student of the Week award to the top earner. Students could be allowed to cash in experience points for other rewards, maybe an extra attempt at this week's quiz or an extension on another assignment. No matter how you do it, finding ways to encourage students to level up is a great way to encourage desired behaviors and motivate students to continue reaching for their next goal.
Thanks for taking things to the next level, Adam. Our last gameful principle branches off an already critical educational concept: feedback. Inherent in every good game is immediate corrective feedback. The reason Mario doesn't just perish at the hands of that first Goomba for eternity is that players learn to jump to avoid game over. Whether feedback is automated, manual, or peer-to-peer, the game has to include this aspect. Immediate corrective feedback is probably the main difference between an underwhelming class and an engaging, encouraging experience. Clearly, the gamified term for feedback would be rewards, the coins, power-ups, and points immediately received for accomplishing the mission. Feedback is, put simply, an indicator for how one is doing in the game. That being said, in a world with ubiquitous social media, students want immediacy now more than ever. However, feedback as a gameful design needs to be done properly. Otherwise, students will care more about winning than learning. Consider Ralph from the incomparable film Wreck-It Ralph, whose single-minded, selfish quest to earn a medal almost cost him love, friendship, and success. According to a recent EDUCAUSE article, a way to use gameful principles to boost opportunities for immediate corrective feedback without distracting learners from the game is to set things up so students are able to give feedback to each other, with the instructor providing support to those who need it. Instructors can split the class up in groups of learning teams, each with their own names and characteristics the students can customize within the classroom narrative. Students can then have the freedom to work together on assignments, provide feedback, and receive support from the instructor as needed. Online teaching has been considered to be a more individualized modality of teaching and learning, and for many, the shift to a collaborative group or team assignment may be uncomfortable or challenging. Just know that the instructional designers in the distance learning department are always available to meet and discuss ideas on course design options. Who knows, making some gameful changes could prove rewarding.
So, as a recap, we've learned that while gamification can be an exciting new strategy, it needs to be implemented in a way to encourage students to take ownership of their learning. When it comes to gamifying your course, you first need to develop a marketable story. The storyline should be an interwoven part of students' learning, not a secondary factor. In order for the story to be effective, students must feel like they are part of the storyline and are truly involved in the game. Next, be sure students have opportunities to level up throughout the course. These events will allow students to feel extra motivated to succeed and reach the next level. Finally, be sure to implement immediate corrective feedback. This feedback would be most beneficial in the form of student to student with instructor support and guidance.
What's Your Problem wants to hear from you. If you have an idea you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, or if you just want to drop us a line, send us an email or follow us on Twitter.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
What's your problem? What's your problem? I don't get what your problem is.
Welcome to Schoolcraft. Welcome to college.